All right, welcome to another 10 Minutes with. Kate actually started the clock today, which is awesome. Whether we follow it or not is yet to be determined. You can see we have a full house with us today. This is the first time we've had 5 people in here at once. We've done 4 a few times, but never 5. So this will be very interesting to see how this goes. I am joined with a podcast here, the Hardcourt Hunnies podcast. Man, I'm screwing up already, and we're in like 30 seconds in. So please welcome Jade Johnson, Shea Vassar, and Taylor TJ Lukes. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So I understand you have quite a backstory of how you met and why a podcast started. So let's hear it.
You should start probably, Taylor, because I think you had podcast aspirations earliest.
Okay, so our podcast, Hardcourt Hunnies, is through, you can find us through bellyupsports.com. And I started off there as a writer, but I was trying to become a podcaster. I did a couple episodes by myself through Belly Up. That didn't go too well. So then I kind of went on a little bit of a hiatus, and then someone brought up in a chat about starting podcasts, and then I mentioned I wanted to do one, and then Jade, you wanted to too.
Yeah.
And then we had another girl. Do we give her name?
No.
Okay, we have another girl. We had another girl. We had another girl where I had known her from a previous site that I had wrote for. And so she joined in, but things didn't work out. So then for pretty much once the bubble started, since basketball ended, NBA ended, that's when it was just Jade and I for a long time, and then we would have a weekly guest until we found ourselves a new honey. So then what, 3 weeks ago, a month ago now, Shea, you've been a honey now?
Yeah, it feels so comfortable. It feels like it's been forever.
Yeah, because we had Shea on as just, her first time as just a, what would you say, more of just a requirement, just to say that, oh, we gave you a test run, but it was all semantics with that. But yeah, that's pretty much how we got started. Would you say that covers it, Jade?
Yeah, well, and then Shea, we only became aware of Shea because of a mutual follow we both have on Twitter, who is just like one of the sweetest people on Twitter. She's the single mom from Toronto. She has like 7,000 followers just because she's an awesome person. And she regularly tweets out a bunch of her kind of favorite accounts. And my account and Hardcourt Hunnies account regularly makes that list. And so Shea saw that tweet of hers 3 or 4 weeks ago now. And she said, okay, I followed everybody. So then her personal account and her podcast account were on my radar. So I went and looked at them, and she had posted a video that day too for her podcast. And I was like, this might be the person we've been looking for. So I DM'd her, told her what was up. She was super excited to do the guest spot as our like formality to see if we all were cool with it.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, formality. Because Jay and I were talking on Twitter like the whole time between meeting and recording. And we're like, we're both foodies. We're talking about baking. Like, we're not even talking about basketball at this point. We're just shooting the shit. So that's how the 3 of us ended up on the podcast together.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a nice fit.
So I'm going to deviate already before we get to question 2. I want to know who are your teams?
I'm an Oklahoma City Thunder fan. So.
I'm in Canada, so I am a Raptors fan.
Hence why we've seen you on Adam Corsair's show before on South Atlantic. Yep.
And I am a fan of the oh so wonderful Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh. All right.
No hesitation.
I mean, right here, like, you know, it's bad enough.
We get it. It's, yeah.
So how are you going to feel when your best player's on my team next year?
That's never going to happen.
It's not going to happen. I know it's not. You did way too well.
Why would?
Too well.
You know what? It's like with LeBron. It's like, okay, South Beach, great. You know, that makes sense. Minneapolis.
We got his best friends. We got his best friends.
So
That's
a
not-
regular part of our podcast
you ever
is Taylor kind of grasping at Minnesota. I mean, obviously they're on the way up now with some trades they made this season, but it's been
That's all I
interesting.
wanted to hear you say, Jade. That's all I wanted to hear you say.
I have
We're
said
on
it
the up.
before.
We're on the up.
So that was another thing we really liked about Shea, that she was another small market fan. We didn't really want to have like a Lakers fan or, you know, a New York Knicks fan. Like we felt like somebody from a smaller market team would be the best fit for us.
So what should a listener expect when listening to your show for the first time?
So the premise of the show was we wanted to flip kind of the traditional sports show in terms of gender assignments. So that's Ellie. Sorry about that. A lot of
running tally of how many times we have pet cameos on this show. This is not the first time that's happened.
Oh,
so a lot of traditional sports talk shows, the woman's only job is to guide the conversation, not really so much to know about sports or be the personality people are tuning in for. So we wanted to flip that and have a male moderator and female personalities. Not that Taylor doesn't have personality, obviously, but that was kind of the premise. So it's basketball. It's all NBA all the time. We do the serious stuff, the predicting kind of stuff, matchups, anything going on in the NBA, pretty much we're talking about it. And we all bring kind of a different thing. Like I'm pretty snarky and sassy and that type of thing. But I also tend to look at basketball a little bit in a different way, which is why auxiliary things is part of my handle. So that's what you should expect from me.
And for me, one of my role models is Ernie Johnson. What he does as like a host moderator thing is what it's cliche, aspire to be if I could, something like what he does. So that's why I wanted to be the role that I am for it. Because also Jade and Shea are much more interesting to listen to than me too. So that's the other thing. I come up with the questions. They come up with the substance that actually makes Hardcourt Hunnies.
I mean, if it weren't for the questions, though, I mean, come on, that's important too.
It's important.
You're gonna do the here's Shaq, here's Chuck. It's like, all right, break it up. Is that
anything? That's actually more me and Jade that we have to break each other up.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we went so long where we were the only two constants and we had different guests coming in. So yeah, there's definitely been some venting moments.
I mean, at least we're not like Chuck where we get people's names wrong. Like that's
True.
definitely something.
I mean, we should. Yeah. I mean, I think I've done that before on accident in the show.
But no
well,
one
knows. We didn't predict the Blazers were going to sweep the Lakers after one win, so we're more credible at least.
Yeah.
Oh, you think Charles was full on like, oh yeah, I'm totally right. You saw that grin when he said Portland sweeping it.
I'm just saying.
Chuck is Chuck. He can get away with that.
Chuck is Chuck. He can say about whatever he wants. He can play really bad golf. And during the pandemic, I actually sat down not that long ago and watched Space Jam, and I'm just like, man, he got big after he retired.
He did. He did.
He was like, I mean, he was always a big guy, but I mean, he was big in an athletic way. It's like he really let himself go.
How Zion Williamson is built is similar to how Charles Barkley was, except Zion's more muscle than Charles was.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley, little fun fact, the day he got drafted, he didn't want to get drafted by the 76ers, and the biggest problem was his weight. He went to McDonald's and just pounded down a couple of like burgers and McChickens and stuff to gain weight. He did.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Little fun fact on the Chuckster on that one.
I'm not surprised at all. Like that sounds exactly right.
Oh yeah. And I was just like, you know what? That's a Charles Barkley move. That's only a Charles Barkley move.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Didn't he also get arrested for throwing somebody through like a glass window, like a glass door or something like that? Too?
Yeah, he's had, as every other sports figure, had a dark moment.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a running joke here in Phoenix that, Old Town Scottsdale, which is kind of central Scottsdale, that's where athletes go to get arrested. And if you see an athlete get arrested in Arizona, it was probably in the Old Town. I don't think that happened here. In fact, I don't think he actually got arrested in Scottsdale, now that I think about it. But
Kind of disappointing that you just had this whole side conversation.
I know.
It didn't even work out.
I was setting myself up, and I was just like, wait a minute, I'm not going anywhere with it. Damn it.
It happens.
And Shea, you didn't say what we should expect from you.
Oh, well, from me, I don't know. I feel like, what do I give? I don't know. I just like bring up random stuff, and they give me a hard time because I'm like a very hardcore OKC fan, and so I'm always like talking about them. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love basketball, so I have other teams or players, but like
You have to learn, Shea. It's okay to talk about your OKC.
Okay, but every time you give me like a lot of crap and you're like, oh, who's the best player? Nerlens Noel? And I'm like, no, he's not even in my top team.
Okay, I've never said that. Hold your horse.
I will
there.
find it.
Okay,
I will find it.
Look what you guys just started. Look what you guys just. This is what you expect from our.
I was just gonna say this right here is a snapshot of what you should expect.
We're going.
I am going to expect
today,
that clip,
people. The record, I think, for the show is 23 minutes. I think we're well on the way to beating it.
Welcome. Yes, welcome to our trio.
I have to say, I have actually been to a Thunder game in Oklahoma City. I traveled there a few years back, and
I'm sorry. No, for Oklahoma City, not the.
I enjoyed it. I had a great time. It was the year after LeBron won his title in Cleveland, and it was a nationally televised game where Kyrie, LeBron, and what's his name?
Kevin Love.
Kevin Love. Thank you. Kevin
Love.
Yeah, all three of them were going to sit out and rest that day, and it was a nationally televised game. And the NBA was like, no, not going to happen. But before this all happened, all the prices on StubHub like tanked. It's like, LeBron's coming to town. I'm just kidding. And like a couple hours before the game, I ended up spending $60 and got a single ticket 10 rows off the floor. And then I go in, I sit down. All of a sudden, here comes Kevin Love, LeBron, and Kyrie in their warm-ups. I'm like, yes, this is the greatest day ever.
Wow.
And
that's
good ticket prices there. That's Timberwolves prices. Timberwolves prices.
Steven Adams scares me. That man he's very scary looking. He's much scarier looking in person than he is on TV.
See, Steven Adams is like if you want one player that all three of us agree on of just being such a wonderful person and player, that is the one. Steven Adams is one of the few players where we're all like, yeah, he's a great dude. He's wonderful.
We like that guy.
Every team should want him on their team.
I really want to hug him. Like,
I
really
feel like
bad.
that would be a really good hug.
But, like, also, I'm 5'2", so, like, is it possible? I don't know.
You would be getting up to his belly button.
Exactly. I'm like,
you got full face of Adam's belly button.
I just got this like weird vibe when he was running up and down the court that it's like somebody sets him off, he's gonna kill that person.
He could. That's the thing. He could. He's the strongest guy in the NBA.
definitely.
Yeah, easily.
When you've got the power of Poseidon behind you, Aquaman. Power of Poseidon.
Oh, I don't even remember what question. We ask the same question every time, and I'm already lost. Share a piece of advice you've learned since you started podcasting.
Oh.
I guess Taylor's starting.
So, for me at least, was to actually form somewhat of a structure and a script for having each show. I used to be like, I'll just like, here's some highlights, and I'll just wing it from there. It's like, I can do that a little bit, but I have now learned to type up a script, speak it out, just make sure it flows, and then most of it though, towards the end, I just make sure I have a question set up good enough for Jade and Shea to at least just go off of, and then I'll usually just bounce off on what they're saying for the most part.
So do you expect others to read your script? Just out of curiosity.
No, I don't. The script I have is just like on how I'm like welcoming everyone, just like, yeah, like this is this episode, we're breaking it down, and then
I've seen a picture of Taylor's notepad too. I don't know if we could read it even if he gave it to us.
Okay, that was for The Last Dance. That was for the last. Okay, when we were doing we had a 5-segment series on The Last Dance, and when I would watch it, I have a notebook that I'd take notes in on it, and organized chaos. And I one time had to take a picture and show Jade. I'm like, this is what we're getting this week. This is what we're getting ourselves into. And it looked like some beautiful mind stuff. Like there's a bunch of lines up and down and like arrows pointing there. And it doesn't help that when all of this looks like that, it's the episode where they talk about the conspiracy theory of Jordan's dad getting murdered by the wrong people. So I looked even crazier than what really was. It's simpler now. It's simpler now. I have it opened up on my notepad on my computer.
Do you have like
intro,
the Charlie Day meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where he's got the board behind him? He's like,
yeah, exactly. That's kind of that I've gotten better, but some episodes still, when you see like the note process, I've thought to get to questions and stuff, like, because then also we have our fast break questions with 3 questions at the end, where it's just quick ones I expect from Shea and Jade, and they don't know what they are. The questions are, usually I come up with those about a half hour before we go on, but 9 times out of 10, I'll change one of those at least up during the episode, because I'll be like, oh, this is a way better question. Because the fast break, they're basketball related, but a lot of times though, it's just like one of the questions we were talking about Doc Rivers and Seth Curry, and because Seth Curry is Doc Rivers' son-in-law, so I asked, who's cutting the turkey at the next holidays after, depending on who wins the series? How awkward is that going to be? So, like, that was my thing. Who's cutting the turkey? So, yeah, that's
Kate's
my
question.
point there.
Kate's questions about prep. I kid you not. Every single time we set up to do a show, 10 minutes before we go live, I get a text. So, who are we interviewing today?
We've had that for recording schedules once.
We have. When people dropped out last minute, like, thanks for dropping out 10 minutes for us to record. That's awesome.
We've also learned about real-time modifications of the script. I'll try to change the words in DJ's intro that he used to write out word for word to see if he was reading it.
He tries to Ron Burgundy.
So crafty.
Yeah, we use a Apple Pages, and you can be in there in the document at the same time, and I'll have notes and just kind of things I'm going to read out during the intro, and she'll like mid-sentence write, DJ sucks, and see if I'll read it out loud. But
That's
John
so
Mulaney's
I am not Ron Burgundy. I read ahead. I may stumble over the words, but I will not read.
I was gonna say she just John Mulaney'd you like he did to Bill Hader on Saturday Night Live when he was Stefan. He would change the cue cards before he'd go on, so that's why he'd always break character. He's like, this is not what we were getting ready for. You just that's clever. That's clever. That's why I write the script. That's why I write it. Because I could mess up like that easily.
There's the reason why we don't do a live notepad anymore, for that very reason. I have my private notepad I put up here. She can't tamper with it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, speaking of Bill Hader is OKC's famous fan. Every NBA fan, team has a famous fan, and that's ours. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm very proud of that fact.
Clearly.
I mean, Bill's a good dude, so I'm okay with that. I'd be happy.
Yeah, super bad. One of my favorites.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's a classic.
So good.
Where were we?
I used to have a poster of that, and then when my boyfriend and I moved in together, he said, please, we cannot hang that in our room. He's like, I don't want to look at Jonah Hill before bed.
I wouldn't want to look at Michael Cera before I go to bed.
Well, what's weird, we actually met at a coffee shop here in New York, and we would serve Jonah Hill like almost every day. And so he's like, I don't want to see him like before. Anyway, that's like a whole nother. Living in New York and working as a barista, I've served way too many people that
We've been talking with you for a month. You've been sitting on that kind of information the entire time.
That's
yeah.
Big breaking.
DJ, you guys have opened up a whole can of worms that we have to talk
I'm so
about.
sorry.
Yes.
This is like family
You're welcome.
therapy or something.
You're welcome.
But I knew her.
I've given you like 3 episodes worth of material to talk
Oh
Definitely.
I know the feeling. I mean, this spare bedroom here has been kind of become my office. And when my wife moved in, and it's just like, no, we're not going to have a Cubs W flag above our master bedroom bed. It's
Yeah.
most of my stuff's actually been condemned to the garage, which
Aww.
yeah, I know it sucks, but hey, it is what it is.
You still have it though.
You
still have it. So there's always potential for it to come back.
Exactly.
It never ended up in the garbage can because I'm still married.
Jade's like, no.
It's never coming back. It might as well be in a black hole.
She's not going to watch this episode, but I guarantee you Kate's going to rat me out, and I'm going to get yelled at in about a half hour.
Oh, yeah. Kate's like already texting her, actually.
Actually, she's been texting me throughout the show.
See?
I'm looking to see. Oh, she just texted me. Are you done yet?
Whoops.
Hey, it's
No,
like
we're not
55
even
minutes,
question
right?
3. We need some advice from the other 2 of you.
Mine is just drinking a lot of coffee to stay, you got to stay alert for those questions, because sometimes I'm like, I don't remember anybody's name. What is basketball? Because, like, it's usually after a long week. And, like, we've been watching so many games that I'm like, I don't remember what happened anymore. So I have to
which
drink a
game
lot
it happened in?
Yes. So, like, I have to, like, archive that and, like, bring it on back to be like, this player is on this team, just because, like, especially on those days where we've been watching, like, 6 games in 24 hours, it's exhausting. So, yeah, that's coffee. Coffee is my advice for all podcasters, just coffee.
My advice comes from more the administrative side of things. And I discovered that Google Calendars is amazing. When we were having a new guest every single week, it was hard to keep track of. And some of them were within our company. So we had a Slack channel, but we started bringing in guests from different podcasts, people we'd met online, people who followed our Twitter account. And so I found that doing a proper Google invitation is the best thing, because I could put all the information they would need about, we ask our guests to record their own audio in case we have connectivity problems so that we can edit in anything we miss.
That's a good
I put the entire outline. Once Taylor sends me the outline, I will update the invitation. And so everybody gets a notification when that happens. So just found that was the easiest way if you are going to have guests in and out. And we will have guests again in the future. We're going to have some run, just the 3 of us, to really get our stride. But we will plan to have a 4th person join us probably once a month on the show. So that was just so much easier than what I had been doing in trying to communicate everything. Just have that invitation there. Any information that needs to be communicated, there's a spot for that. Everybody gets the time, and it's made my life so much easier.
You hit home right there. I mean, we've definitely done that where we've recorded a 40-minute episode and it's just me talking to myself.
Oh.
No one wants to listen to that. Nobody.
Gotta ask, have you
Today, right? You do talk to yourself a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's for off air. Let's.
I have to ask, have you guys had an episode where you forgot to record and you did a whole episode and then you realized, oh no?
Nope, just the one where I recorded my track and not everybody else's. Which still, oh no, is especially when you have a guest. Hey, can you come back? We fucked up. Sorry.
Gotta do it all again.
Yeah.
So where can people find your podcast?
So the podcast is everywhere basically you get your podcasts. We're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We just joined Stitcher. We're on CastBox. You can find us there. Basically, if you listen to podcasts, we're probably wherever you get your podcasts.
And your social media.
Oh, we got a Facebook, Hardcourt Hunnies. We got Twitter.
That's at HC Hunnies.
Yeah, HC
on
Hunnies.
Twitter.
Yeah.
And
Jade
also, our timeline is so much better because Shea got the password this weekend, and I'm terrible at like accounts that represent a group. I'm great on my personal account. I don't know how to do an account that represents a group. Shea is the master. So our timeline is pretty amazing right now.
Thankfully, I just did some social media internships because I realized a film degree doesn't get you jobs. So I had to move into social media because that's where money is nowadays. Still don't have a job. It's fine. But I can run our podcast Twitter pretty well. So it works.
There you go. So final bonus question. Who is going to be the overall bubble champion?
Me.
No. No, you're not.
Jade, we'll go with your answer.
Kate's
We
in
already-
Chicago.
I
Kate's in
already
Chicago.
know
They weren't
what
even
they
invited.
say.
I have to go with the Raptors. They're the defending champions, and I'm just not worried about anybody else.
I'm going to go with Raptors too in solidarity with Jade. Also, I like their team. I don't want either of the Lakers teams to make it all
Any
the
of the
way.
Lakers teams?
Lakers teams.
Any of the
LA teams. We knew what she meant. Taylor, you knew what she meant.
I know, but still, we should make sure that when they have it on their episode, people aren't like, "Why did she say 2 Lakers teams?"
I know, and then they're going to be like, do they know basketball? See, this
Exactly.
is what I mean.
I'm
basketball.
covering her butt, Jade.
Okay,
Jeez.
fine.
I have to
Oh,
do this often. It's like dribble, 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 shoot. That's the game I'm watching.
Are you still going? Are you still going with the Clippers, Taylor? Have you changed your mind yet?
Because the only reason why I would is because I'm trying to stick to my guns, but at the same time, like, man, watching them play, it's like, man, like none of you play well together right now.
So gross.
So honestly, Bucks, I don't know. I honestly don't know anymore. I'm a free agent fan. So like Bucks, Raptors, I mean, Heat, I don't know. The Lakers, I mean, Orlando's still in it. Do they still have a chance?
No.
No. I mean,
Hey,
I have
Oklahoma City's not
coin
out
if you-
yet.
I have a coin here if you just want to flip until you pick a team.
Honestly, I would actually have to have like a couple side coins, just had like every single name, just be like Yahtzee, throw it up and see what happens.
And ironically enough, it's
Magic
a
8-ball.
it's a Canadian quarter too. So
Ooh.
you
Nice.
I don't know. I think that
Taylor.
says everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Heads
you have
could
to
be
Raptors
Toronto.
fan.
Heads can be Toronto. Tails can be any of the United States.
Actually, head should be Bucks because there's a deer on the Canadian quarter.
There you go.
I didn't know that.
Or I guess it's tails.
Wait a
It's two
minute.
different- It's 2 heads.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a head. And then on the other side is the queen.
Oh, yeah, of course. Queens.
How do you have a Canadian quarter?
I don't know. I just end up,
I have a whole jar of American change. Stuff circulates.
I've got all kinds of crazy stuff in here. Like, I have a token in here. Like,
Look at the person in the chair.
yeah, I mean, that's basically like, here's another odd thing I have on my desk. I have a token for the Atlanta MARTA system, which is their like underground train. They haven't used
Yeah.
tokens in like 15 years. I haven't been to Atlanta in 15 years. I don't know why I have this.
Wow.
I mean, I have a bunch of Mexican peso coins, but that's because my fiance is Mexican and she lives in Mexico right now. So, I mean, at least, actually, I think I have a peso over here somewhere. Anywho,
I have a box of 1,000 googly eyes.
Oh, I like that.
All right. Find the strangest thing on your desk.
I have a
We have approached this. Actually, I have I got this before I moved to Arizona. I have also have a paperweight with a scorpion inside, which is pretty
Wow.
terrifying.
So DJ, where can we find us?
I don't know where. I can't even find myself half the time.
Crazy Town.
Okay, how far are we over the 10 minutes?
You don't want to know.
No, I do want. We need
30 minutes.
Welcome
DJ
to
We have
advance.
killed
There's
the
no
record.
way.
Oops.
And my wife is asking, are you done yet? So, yes, we are done. So, Jade, Shea, TJ, thank you for being on the show. This has been a very entertaining half hour, not 10 minutes. We knew this going on. So, again, the show is Hardcourt Hunnies. Get it wherever you download your favorite podcast. And then for us, visit us at stadiumscene.tv, at Stadium Scene on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest, at Stadium_on Instagram. And we'll see you next time.